is Psychic Bob. Well, here we are. It's Friday, and I want to come here and bring to you a video today. It's UFO Friday. um, but before we get in that, let me just give you an update. I am still healing from my injuries, so I have half a voice still, and I about lost all of it yesterday. I want to say thank you to all of you who came out to yesterday's show on Kelly and the Raw. Kelly and the Raw is a wonderful psychic. I was a guest on her talk show yesterday, and she did a big interview, and I did readings, and had a lot of fun. If you guys didn't get to come out and see that, it was a live broadcast. I'll put the link below, and you can go there and see the replay. It's at Kelly's channel. I had a lot of fun, and thank you to all of you who came out and asked questions and were so much part of the crowd. We had a good time. I ended up being really tired yesterday. Between doing that show and doing some private readings, it wore me out. I'm still on the mend, so I didn't get out a video yesterday for Zodiac Thursday. And I just ask you to bear with me. It's probably going to be a little while till we get back to a full running schedule. But I did want to at least come here and touch in on UFO theme subject today on UFO Friday. A lot of people have, excuse me, a lot of people have been writing to me, asking me to talk about alien abductions. And people are saying, are alien abductions real? Some people have written said, I think I've been abducted, but I'm not sure. Some people have written said, Bob, I absolutely know I've been abducted. And so there's a whole range of experiences in this area. And let me just first start by saying that I do personally believe that people from Earth are being abducted. They are being taken aboard alien spacecraft. Now, the difference in abduction experiences, there are a lot of differences, I should say. What's interesting to me as I've observed the UFO phenomena is that it seems that the abduction experience has changed, let's say, since the 1950s. There are a number of people during the 1950s, 1960s who claim to have had experiences, interactions with aliens. But the difference is that the aliens that they interacted with were friendly, spoke English, looked just like us, and freely invited them on the ship. And the people were invited and given free will to interact. And so when you read the accounts of those time periods, particularly I would encourage you to research the writings of George Adamski. He was one of the contactees from that era. You get a very different picture of alien interaction. It seems very, very casual, very friendly, very fascinating. Today's accounts, when people talk about encounters with aliens, it has a much more, to be honest with you, sinister or scary tone. And I think what accounts for the difference between then and now are a few different factors. I believe that the earliest encounters on the Earth were with humanoid aliens who look literally human, such as the Pleiadians, the Venusians, some people from Saturn. These seem to be the early abduction accounts from the 1950s. In these encounters, or those encounters, people, it was literally human interacting with human. Since the late 1960s forward up to today, there seems to be a different race of aliens interacting. Now, there are literally thousands of species that have been visiting the Earth. The predominant ones, though, that humans have encountered fall into 4 different categories. One are the humans, such as the Andromedans. Okay, those we've covered information on that. They look just like us. The other ones are the gray aliens, and they are from a whole different star system called Zeta Reticuli. These are the small little 3-foot high guys that are gray skinned. They have big eyes. The other class of alien that people are encountering are the insectoids. And these look like giant praying mantises. But interestingly, they're not at all scary. They're very friendly and very intelligent. And then we have the 4th type of alien that seems to be predominant are the dracoids, the dragon race, or the reptilians. And they come from the Draco star system. And from everybody that's encountered the dracoids, very hostile, very anti-human, very threatening. So these are different races, and sometimes, depending on the encounter, somebody may encounter all of them at the same time. So we don't hear many people today talking about meeting the Pleiadians as much, or the people from Mars, or the people from Venus. And I think this is unfortunate because those encounters of the past seem to actually be very positive. Where I have a problem with the alien abductions are that they don't respect human free will. And it seems a lot of people now are being abducted against their will, being traumatized by the experience. That being said, when we enter into the abduction experience, many people say once they get over their initial trauma, it's actually an enlightening experience for some of them, some, not all, where they feel that they're being given a mission to enlighten humanity. And I think really like any scientific program, there are many layers and multiple kind of facets to each experience. So be careful if somebody comes to you and says, oh, I've been abducted, and you say, oh, well, do you fit A, B, or C? And they say no. Don't just credit them as invalid, because I've encountered in my work as a psychic, I've had people come to me over the years with wildly different abduction experiences that wouldn't match at all. Yet I can tell you each of them were very real and did happen. So we have to, don't judge anybody so quickly. Excuse me. Now, some of you have said, I think I've been abducted, but I don't know. And a lot of people fall in that kind of middle land of not knowing. And I thought today I'd just touch in on a few points that are recurring themes for many people that are abductees that might be helpful for you to look at in your own lives, okay? One of the things that many abductees report is a feeling of being from somewhere else. It seems that during alien abduction encounters, people are given a message that they are connected to the stars, and they return back to their daily lives, but a sense of an underlying knowing. It's like they're not from here. Some people report all their lives feeling as if they are not connected to Earth life. And this is certainly, I think, a strong indicator that they do have a connection to the other worlds. Now, one of the other things that happens is many people have been abducted also have recurring dreams, either of the abduction or interactions with people from other worlds, or sometimes they'll just dream of living on another planet. And I think these dreams, many of them are actual memories. But I also have to say, I do believe that some of these dreams are induced by the aliens, because I believe that they want to, for some humans, it's an experiment to get them to start to think in alien terms. And so it's good if you think you've been abducted. I would encourage you to keep a dream journal and start following your dreams. And you might be somebody who says, well, I just get a little fleeting glimpse, hardly enough to really know. Don't discredit it. Even the littlest amount of information can down the road be very powerful. So write a journal every day. And if you have days that you don't remember, write that in as well. Say, last night, no memories of dreams. And what you'll do is you'll start to train your mind to to really have an understanding that it has to remember. We have to train our minds sometimes, you see. Also, what happens is a lot of times people come back from their dream states with a real sense of mission. They have a sense that they're being given tasks, something they must complete for the aliens or for themselves. And so I think this is also something you will watch for if you have a recurring theme or a message that seems to be being given to you by the alien presences, either in your dreams or even sometimes just awake, you see. Another thing that happens many times with abductees is that they will experience a period of missing time, and then they will also have what we call a screen memory of that missing time. So for example, let me give you an example. Like, let's say an abductee, a future abductee, is walking down the road. And let's say it's 10 o'clock at night, and they're walking from point A to point B. And it usually takes them 10 minutes to get there. So they leave at 10 o'clock, and normally they'd be at point B at 10:10. And they're walking down the road, and when they finally get to point B, it's 11:30. And they don't remember anything along the way being different. They remember the walk. They may remember, though, seeing a deer, for example, jump in front of them. And they may say, well, I remember during the walk that strange deer that jumped in front of me. His eyes were glowing. Because you know how deer in the headlight, the eyes glow, right? So that person walking down the road with maybe cars driving by, remember seeing a deer in the road that they've never seen before. And that's all that's out of the norm. And when they get to point B, which should be 10 minutes later, it's now 11:30 or 12 at night. 2 hours are missing. So what happened? Well, it's believed many times that abductees have memories put in to blank out the abduction experience. And so that deer, if they go back and reevaluate that memory of the deer, something not right, doesn't fit. Or they may likewise have that, what we call screen memory, replay over and over and over. Now, many times abductees are hypnotized. But what happens is during the hypnosis, when the hypnotist tries to take them through that night, they'll hit that screen memory and they can't go any farther. So it's like a shield, a block. And I do believe that the trauma for some people being abducted makes them not be able to go beyond that screen memory. And that screen memory is really the point at which an abduction occurred, most likely. So many abductees have missing time, and that's also filled in with a screen memory. Okay. One of the other things that also happens to abductees is they have scars on their bodies. And these scars are oftentimes like scoop marks. Sometimes they have burns, radiation burns as well. And when they're tested by a doctor, they're even found to have been exposed to radiation. Um, and it's believed that the alien craft that they're brought aboard um, do have radioactive components to them. And sometimes, interestingly, abductees are allowed to freely roam the ships. Once they're aboard, many times they kind of wake up, but they're still a little bit in an induced kind of a trance state. But they can walk around the ship, and sometimes if they're not being watched enough, they'll get into areas where they get exposed to radiation, like engine rooms and stuff. They're not properly shielded, and they'll come back with actual injuries that are radioactive injuries. So, and doctors have confirmed these people. There's like, well, there's no way they would be exposed to radiation walking from point A to point B at night. So there's another interesting anomaly that is introduced into the whole scenario of the timeline of that evening. And then I think one of the other things is that one of I think the strongest arguments for abduction is that people have memories of implants being put into their bodies. Many times they're brought aboard a craft, skin samples are taken, they take hair, they look in their eyes, and then they'll implant either in their ear, in their nasal cavity, sometimes in the shoulder. It can be different places, sometimes in the hand. They'll implant a device, a small little, it's not actually a computer chip, but it acts like a computer chip. And many abductees clearly remember the experience, and upon kind of remembrance, they literally go to a doctor and say, I remember being on an operating table, and they put a chip or some type of device in my hand. And the doctor's like, okay. So when they x-ray the hand, guess what? It shows up that they have something inside their body. And there are doctors, in fact, there's a doctor on YouTube, I'll see if I can find the link. He's devoted his life to helping abductees. He actually removes implants for free and studies them. Now, what's fascinating about the implants is they do not seem to be based on any element on this earth, but yet they are not incompatible with a human body. They seem to have a biotechnological element. So they're like, they fit into the body doesn't reject them, and they're electronic, and yet they're encased in a membrane which is compatible with the human body. Very smart technology, I must say. And when you study this implant technology, you realize that the aliens are very brilliant in the way they do it, because it doesn't, the implants actually don't seem to create a rejection reaction within the body as most foreign objects. And if you get a splinter in your hand, it's a foreign object, your body's going to fight it, and you're going to swelling until you get that, now you can get infection. But these implants don't seem to create infection, which is very fascinating. And upon the study of the implants, many of the implants emit like a radio signal. And it's believed that they're used as like a tracking device. Many abductees have claimed that they can be anywhere in the world, and it's almost like through that chip, it gives a signal to them to go to a certain place, or they feel a message coming through, or being led or called. And interestingly, most of the abductees, the ones I have spoken with, had told me that they don't actually feel terrified with their experience. Initially, it was terrifying, they say, but many of them seem to now have an acceptance of it and feel that they actually can work with the aliens. The people that I've encountered who have been abducted have tended to tell me their abduction experiences were with the gray aliens. Now, I'm not a big fan of the gray aliens. I don't know that they're here for our best interest. But I do know one thing, their technology is so superior that if they wanted to kill us all off and take over the earth, they truly could. But that doesn't really seem to be their agenda. I think their agenda is one more of study. Are particularly interested in human genetics because it seems that the gray alien race has genetic damage and they're a dying race and cannot reproduce. And they found that the human DNA works with their bodies. So there seems to be a kind of a cloning effort or a reproduction agenda with the grays. Now this raises the whole ethical question of like, how can they do this? Well, we have to kind of think about it in this sense. The aliens, particularly the gray aliens, don't look at us necessarily as their friends or equals. They look at us as test subjects. Many much the same way as we would look at a laboratory rat. For example, we have scientific laboratories here that keep animals for testing. Now, I'm not justifying that. I personally think animal testing is wrong. I don't support that. But it does occur. And so they look at us the same way as we might look at a rabbit or a chimpanzee as a lab subject. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that's how it's being done. So we're kind of like, little children to them who really don't know any better, and they feel the need to do their work and experiments, and they don't feel the need to ask permission because they're so superior. So this is the reality, and it's like I always tell people, I said, don't be afraid of the aliens. If they want to take over, they can, but they're not. They're not going to take over. So anyways, I just want to touch in on these subjects today. I think this is very fascinating stuff, and I'd love to hear in the box below if any of you have ever seen a UFO or feel that you've had an abduction experience. Let's talk about this. Well, guys, my voice is going, so I'm going to keep it a little short here. But I love you guys. Listen, I hope you'll like this video, favorite it, share it with your friends. Hit subscribe. Be part of our channel. We'd love you to be here. And keep it here. We'll have more coming. I don't know that I'm going to do the seance this weekend again. I am still rather weak, and my body's just not up to doing a lot. So we'll maybe just do some vlogs this weekend. I'm really not trying to overtax myself because I literally, as many of you know, came through a near death. And I'm going to be gentle with myself. So I appreciate you guys being here and understanding. You're the best. I love you. And by the way, I just want to say something else. I am not wearing green for St. Patrick's Day. No, I do not celebrate St. Patrick's Day. There's a whole reason behind that. That could be a whole video in itself. But I'm wearing green today. One, just because I'm doing laundry and all my dark sweaters are being washed. But other than that, this is kind of a nice green. It's not an emerald green. It's kind of a jade green. It reminds me of the moss in Ireland. And Ireland is the land of the Fae people. And I descend from the Fae. So this is honoring the pagan Fae culture, not the St. Patrick's culture. So I wear green today to honor the Fae and many of the Fae who were slaughtered by the Catholic Church. And that's a whole nother video, but we'll talk about that over the weekend. But just know that I am not celebrating St. Patrick's Day. If you want to celebrate, that's your choice. I'm not telling you what to do. I just don't celebrate it. I have a real personal vendetta against what the Catholic Church did. One of the things that's just so shocking is if you actually read the history, that the Pope told St. Patrick to literally go in and decimate the pagan temples during this time. He said, go in, take control. If the structures they worship at are sound, turn them into churches. By all means, basically decimate pagans. And if they don't join, basically you have to kill them. So when they talk about the snakes leaving Ireland, it's really a metaphor for, driving out the pagans. And so anyways, I'm not celebrating St. Patrick's, okay? I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for putting up with my bad voice. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have a vlog, but definitely be here, okay? I love you guys. See you then. Blessed be.